we have yet another 100% P&T reduction. And there are many things we can take and learn from this veteran's huge, costly, I would argue, suicidal mistake here. And I want to start by telling everyone that P&T is not a protection. I know you think it is. It's not. I'm sorry I have to be the one to tell you that. And someone's going to be like, well, blah, blah, blah. It's not a protection. There are two protections. It's the 10-year rule and the 20-year rule, not the 5, not the 55, and not P&T. I'll explain that here in a bit. I want to get really down to this reduction letter. And here it is. All right. This veteran here, here's his letter. We're going to read his post and then really the moderator's comment, which is going to bring home what I want to communicate to you. You can see right here that he's being proposed 100% to 0%. Now, this letter is a bit wacky. The VA is going to probably send him a corrected letter, right? And then we see the value there of which is also an incorrect number for 100% down to 0. But you have rhinitis at 10 and then PTSD at 10. So obviously there's some inaccuracies here. The VA is going to hammer that out. But regardless, this veteran is losing his P&T status. You can see his reductions for sinusitis, rhinitis, whatever that word is going to stay the same. His cervical strain, and then his PTSD going from 30 to 10. Yikes. That sucks. So let's read what he has to say here. Let me zoom in so you can see what I'm looking at. He says, so I retired last year after my 20 and my B2D claim went pretty smoothly for the most part. Received my rating, and the only thing they got wrong was I submitted a diagnosis of sleep apnea, and they rated me not service connected. I obviously got very bad advice from my VSO to submit a HLR of my sleep apnea since we submitted the documents in the original claim, and I was still on active duty when I was diagnosed. So that seems like a good idea. It's not, by the way. But this veteran, what makes it worse is he's retired. So that tells me not only is he losing his VA compensation, but he's also losing his CDRP or CRDP, concurrent receipt, okay, CR, which is a double whammy that sucks even more. But apparently they have reviewed everything all over again and now have determined I'm all better for the listed conditions and are reducing my current ratings. All right, this goes into 100 to 0. And the minimum should be 10. So there's some discrepancies there. The VA will fix that. I'm obviously requesting a hearing, but just wondering if anyone else has received an absolute hack job of a letter like this. Now, the most important thing here is going to be this moderator's comment. It says, for other vets reading, please note that OP, that's the person who posted it, original poster, I think, filed a HLR. The VA did not randomly reach out and reduce. So questions you're probably going to be asked. Did they request CMP exams? If so, did you attend? That's a great question. How many months ago did you retire? Seems about a year. Oh, last year. Okay, so we don't know. And do you have any other conditions with percentages that were also part of your 100% because the conditions you have listed don't come close to the reduction? So this is it, okay? Why would this veteran submit a higher level review for sleep apnea? And I'm going to be honest with you, this is the answer because they got bad advice from a VSO. That's the answer. But listen, 99.99999% of veterans, once you're P&T, there's no reason to submit more claims. There's a very small, very, 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 very small, okay, very niche situation in when a veteran would, but I'm not even going to explain it because I don't even want to communicate it so people would misinterpret saying submit more claims. So I'm not even going to explain what a scenario would look like. Just know that if you travel down a dumb road, you're going to get some dumb results, and that was pretty dumb there brother. Now, is it the VSO's fault? Obviously. Am I blaming the veteran? No. However, the veteran has the full effect. No one else feels the effects except for the veteran. So therefore, there is some sense of responsibility there to that. I don't like saying that, but it is the truth. Okay, let's talk about the 5, 10, 20, and 55-year rule. 5 years just means no future re-examinations, kind of like the static disability ratings, Static disabilities that add up to 95% or higher make P&T. If so facto, they're almost the same thing. What P&T really does is the VA is not actively reducing ratings, okay? It makes it harder to have consistent medical evidence that shows genuine and sincere improvement in the veteran's condition. However, not a protection. Obviously, if it was, we wouldn't have seen what we just saw. The only protection, the 55-year rule, is the same thing. Now you're just 55 years old, okay? Food for thought. Your conditions are not likely to improve because you're old. That is the 55-year rule. I'm saying it like that because that is literally what it is, with the exceptions of like cancers and remission and other very, very niche situations. The only protections we have, there's two, technically there's three. The 10-year rule, which protects service connection. So let's say you've been connected for rhinitis for 10 years. At 10 years and 1 day, that service connection cannot be pulled with the exception of fraud. The rating, let's say you've been service connected for rhinitis at 10% for 20 years. The rating at 10% is protected. Now, I know someone's going to ask, well, what if you get increased to 30%? That's fine. You have your 10% effective date and your 30% effective date. So once your 10% goes 20 years, you're protected no less than 10. Once your 30% effective date goes on for 20 years, you're protected for the rating. That's it. Those are the only two protections. Service connection at 10, the rating at 20. Stop saying P&T is a protection. It's not. I think it communicates the wrong intent when people say that. I know some nerds really going to be like, well, P&T, this and that. Stop saying it. Because by saying things like that, we're communicating, hey, file HLRs on 100% P&T veterans, which is just really stupid, really dumb. Okay, and this is the result. That technically third protection, I did 3 fingers there for the quote, is when rating schedules change. There's a protection clause in there for veterans who are previously rated. Sometimes it's called grandfathered. That word's not in the CFR there for that, but it is a protection under the previous VA SRD. So that matters because we see mental health, tinnitus, sleep apnea, neurological conditions. So food for thought. The VA has yet again reduced another veteran, but it was the veteran's fault. Sorry.